Your thumb is already hovering over confirm. The screen doesn't say $50, it says $12.50 4 times, like that's a different number entirely. Somewhere behind that friendly little price is the real receipt, the one nobody puts on the screen, and it's nothing like $12. You know this. You've done the math before, more than once. And yet the second you see 4 payments of $12.50 instead of one price tag, something in your chest just relaxes. That relaxation isn't an accident, and it isn't random. It has an author, and he's very good at his job. In a moment you'll meet him, the gremlin who turns 50 real dollars into something that feels like free money, and the exact sentence you can say out loud, right at checkout, that breaks his spell in 1 second flat. And by the end, you'll see how those scattered little payments quietly stack up somewhere you never look, plus the one weekly habit that drags the whole hidden bill back into the light before it blindsides you. So go ahead, look at that checkout screen again. Look at the checkout screen again. $50 didn't disappear, it got renamed. 4 payments of $12.50. Your brain reads that new number and files it under a completely different category than debt. Not because the math changed, the money is identical. What changed is the story your brain tells about pain. A single big number triggers a flinch, a real cost signal. 4 small numbers barely register as cost at all. That flinch is supposed to protect you. The installment plan doesn't remove the cost, it removes the flinch. And the moment the flinch disappears, so does your brakes. Meet the gremlin running this trick. Call him the Belonging Gremlin. He doesn't want your money directly. He wants you to feel, for one warm second, like you're inside the group. The people who already own the sneakers, the skincare, the concert tickets everyone's posting about. He knows belonging is one of the oldest, most powerful pulls on a human brain, older than money itself. So he borrows that pull and straps it to a payment button. Suddenly, the purchase isn't a financial decision, it's a social one. And social decisions get made fast, on feeling, not on arithmetic. Here's the mechanism underneath him, and it has a name: present bias. Behavioral economists have documented this again and again. Your brain systematically overvalues rewards algorithms right now and undervalues costs that land later, even when the later cost is bigger. BNPL is engineered almost perfectly around that gap. The belonging arrives today, the bill arrives in 6 weeks. Your brain, given a choice between a reward now and a cost later, will almost always vote for now, because the later version of you feels like a stranger it doesn't have to negotiate with. Now add the second gremlin trick working alongside him: social proof. The checkout page doesn't just split your price, it tells you who else is buying. A running counter, a trending now, a friend's story showing the unboxing. Your brain treats a crowd as evidence. If everyone else is doing it, it must be safe, smart, normal. That's a shortcut that served you well around campfires and marketplaces for most of human history. It was never built to evaluate a late fee buried in paragraph 9 of a checkout agreement that can run higher than the price of the item itself. Put those two together and you get the actual spiral. Present bias erases the future cost. Social proof erases the risk assessment. What's left is a purchase that feels emotionally free and socially validated. Right up until 4 different tiny payments from 4 different purchases all land in the same week from 4 different apps, none of which show up on one clean statement. That fragmentation works in his favor, whether or not anyone designed it that way. A bill you can see in full triggers caution. A bill scattered into invisible slices triggers nothing, until it triggers everything at once. Have you noticed the moment it clicked for you, the first time a BNPL charge showed up and genuinely surprised you, even though you approved it weeks earlier? That gap between approving and feeling the cost is worth sitting with for a second, and it might be worth saying out loud in the comments because you are very much not the only one who's lived it. Here's where most advice stops at be more disciplined, which is useless because discipline isn't the broken part. Awareness is. The belonging gremlin doesn't fear your willpower. He fears your arithmetic. So here's the concrete move. Before you tap confirm on any split payment, say the full total out loud. Once in dollars. Not the installment number, the real one. This is $60, not $12.50 times 4. Speaking the whole price collapses his trick instantly because the flinch he erased comes back the second the number is whole again. Second move, just as concrete. Open your bnpl apps once a week and add up every active plan in one place, on one screen, in one sitting. Not to shame yourself, to see the shape he's hiding. He depends on those plans staying scattered across separate apps, separate due dates, separate little dashboards that never talk to each other. One combined total, seen weekly, turns invisible slices back into a visible bill. That's not budgeting advice. That's just refusing to let him fragment your own vision. And when belonging is the actual pull, when it really is about not feeling left out of the thing your friends already have, try naming that feeling before checkout, separately from the purchase. Ask yourself what you're actually buying, the object or the feeling of being caught up. Sometimes the honest answer is both, and that's fine, but naming it strips his disguise. He only works in the dark, dressed up as a harmless little number. None of this makes bnpl evil. It makes it visible, which is the only thing that was ever missing. Your brain isn't broken for feeling the pull of belonging. It's ancient, and it's doing exactly what it was built to do in a world that didn't have checkout buttons. The gremlin just found the oldest wiring in your head and gave it a payment plan. Next time 4 small numbers try to convince you they're not really money, say the real one out loud, and watch how fast the spell breaks. What's the smallest installment that ever fooled you the most?